Nobody said being a leader would be easy. All right, guys, you know that I love to give you a bit of bonus content in these videos to take the concepts from the article a level deeper. If you're new here, I'm Alex Snyder. I'm a keynote speaker, strategic advisor to impact-driven leaders who want to build world-class companies, and the host of the Builders podcast. So I want to dig a little deeper on difficult decisions first. There's two places that I see most commonly leaders get jammed up. The first one is people decisions, and it's one of the hardest decisions to make. There's so many things that play into people and team. Often we're talking about day one diehards, people who've been there from early on, or people who have been instrumental to growth in a certain aspect of the business, and they're just no longer the right fit, or they're not in the right role, or they're not going where the company's going. And this is where leaders put off these decisions, and honestly, they put them off to the detriment of themselves, the business, the individual in question, and the broader team. And the reason that I say is to the detriment even of the individual is it is really, really not fair to leave somebody in a role where they are not going to succeed, where they're not set up to succeed. We all want to do a great job. And if you're leaving somebody in a position where they're not meeting the expectation, or they're not able to lead the company to the next step, you're not giving them the opportunity to find the role that is for them, in which they can grow and they can succeed and they can feel fulfilled. And whether that role is within the organization or within another organization, I really can't stress enough how important it is, once you know that this is no longer the right role for them, that they are not a fit, that they are not succeeding, and you've done some interventions to try and maybe coach them or support them in different ways. Once you know, you have to make that decision and you have to have that conversation, because again, you're leaving them in the role that they're not succeeding in. You are likely investing resources. They are likely either eating up resources of the rest of the team, or the rest of the team is looking at this person and seeing that they're not doing their job and they're not meeting expectations. And often there's a massive impact to the organization's performance, whether that's directly to revenue or other things. So that decision, the longer you put it off, you are just draining resources across the board. The second place I see decisions being put off, and again, to the detriment across the board, is strategic pivots. And the reason that these are hard is not only because you have to admit that what you're doing now isn't working, or maybe it's working, but it's just not going to take you where you want to go in the business longer term. It's also because the work to design and implement and bring forth the new thing is hard and long, and often you don't know where you're going to find the time and the resources to do it, while dismantling the thing that is currently in place, which often is working to some degree. So this is a really daunting decision to make, but again, the longer you put it off, you will likely be in the same place in 3 months, not growing or wasting resources, or having something that's kind of plodding along and not making strides towards that next level thing, whether it's a service, a business model, an offer, a product, whatever your business is. If you know that what you're doing now isn't the next level of the business, you have to find a way to be making strides towards that next level thing, whatever that investment is. And at some point, it likely will mean decommissioning or dropping something that is working to a degree to free up the time and resources to really invest and test the next level product or offer. And so those strategic pivots is another place where I see people really, really regularly putting off decisions because it's difficult. And these are some of the reasons why I think having advisors or mentors, whatever you want to call coaches, that list of phone a friend resources that you can really reach out to for objective, on-demand support, who understand you and your business sufficiently to be able to provide you valuable perspective, objective advice, guidance, be a sounding board, is really vital. Because often for somebody externally who is qualified, it will be a lot easier to see what it is you're avoiding, or why you're putting it off, or the decision you need to make that you ultimately know but are stalling on. Okay, so the other concept I want to cover quickly for you guys is this uncomfortable conversations and imperfection and integrity. Nobody said being a leader would be easy. And when we talk about stepping into discomfort, and the uncomfortable conversations is a huge part of that. And they really tie into the integrity piece as well, because this is really a place where you're going to lead by example. And so I want to give you two things that are really going to help you make this work. The first one is admit that it's uncomfortable. Admit that this is a difficult conversation you're about to have with somebody, and be honest about it, and then do the thing anyways. And people will respect you for it. It gets easier as well over time. And once they get over the difficult conversation, they will gain more self-awareness often and really be grateful that you had that conversation with them, that you let them know, that you walked them through the process. So it also really plays into integrity, right? So you're not perfect, but you are doing the thing and you are stepping up. And the second part of that is it's contagious. So everyone in the organization over time will start to follow your lead, meaning you'll have a better flow of communication within your teams. And this is both a better flow in terms of timely exchange of information and more frank, problem-solving focused conversations where people say what they mean, so everyone is on the same page and isn't left guessing. So when you have people starting to do this, keep in mind they aren't necessarily going to be perfect at first, but you want to acknowledge people who do it and really encourage them to do more, as well as be patient if they aren't perfect with it, and find ways to share the skills that you've been picking up and honing along your journey with them so that they can get better and better at it. So that's it for today. Uncomfortable conversations, difficult decisions, being imperfect, making sure that you are demonstrating integrity so that people know that you do what you say and can trust you in order to follow your lead. This is what leadership is about, and it is one of the intangibles that can be really easy to gloss over because it's so uncomfortable. But if you get this right, it will skyrocket the way your team works, your company flows its communication, and I promise you, you will come out the other side feeling so much better and so much stronger in your role. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you in the next article.